All right, welcome everybody. We have four members, and we have, four members present, and we have Ralph. Let's see who's missing. Mel, Ralph, Courtney. Do we have somebody else on the team?
So I know we had a lot of turnover in the Conservation Commission. So to the extent that people were representing the Conservation Commission on this board, on this team,
yeah,
that might be an issue.
Is Mel still on the Conservation Commission, or is she gone?
She's off.
She's off. Pam and Richard's not on this team anymore. So yeah, I guess there was a conversation to be had about who should be on this team. Do we need members from all the various places that we had identified, including Conservation Commission and so forth? So I don't know if that's a discussion for now or discussion with Vicky maybe at another time. But it's certainly something that should be discussed at some point, right?
Yeah. And to the extent that you do things that need votes, then it should be just your members who are voting, but you seem to welcome public attendance and public conversation and public volunteers to help you do whatever you want to do. So it really, it matters for getting a quorum, and it matters for anything that you need to vote on. But otherwise, you seem to be an open and inclusive and welcoming group for people who are not members, which is nice too.
Yeah, the only thing that's important there, though, is that like Mel brought a lot to the table, and Pam from conservation. So that was kind of the rationale for having the various bodies represented. So
yeah,
it's great to have as many people, like the library's on now, and newer people that have come on, which is wonderful. But if we do have to have those bodies represented to kind of help,
absolutely.
So I guess that should be a follow-up discussion then on how that should work out. And then the resolution would then have to be changed through council. So we can do that later.
So Ralph is here. So we do have a quorum.
Hello.
Hey Ralph, how you doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah, so we were just talking about membership and how it's a little bit in flux. Let's first things first though. Let's do anybody want to move to approve the minutes from our last meeting, November 20th meeting?
I'll approve them.
I'll second.
Thank you. And now let's go back to what we were just talking about. Yeah, I have to pull up the town council resolution, but it's specified Conservation Commission, Nature Center, Town Council.
Economic development.
A couple other things. Economic development, that's right. We got Ralph.
And then we had a liaison from the town. So, I mean, it's kind of it hasn't been quite what it was resolved to be anyway. Right. So it definitely does need another look, but that's probably kind of I would think, a little bit separate from today.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. We're not going to decide that now, but it's something that we should probably meet with the administration about that. So
yes.
Let me just make a note to that effect. And meet with the team membership. Okay. All right. Guests. Do we have guests? Other than Cindy and Bill. And I think that's it, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So welcome everybody. My first item for business was, now I don't know if we don't have people here probably, but pollinator pathway was on the list. Janet I had some thoughts on conservation stuff, but I don't know if there's anybody here who could talk about either pollinator pathway or the waterside brochure delivery that we had previously discussed. Is there any updates on that, Mary, or anybody?
No, I was hoping Mel would weigh in, but I haven't heard back from her, to
Yeah.
see what the best, if that's something that, and again, I'm not sure about Pam's, interest level time at this point, but, if they did want to try to get to, I have Dogwood Lake in my head, Canoe Brook. If they did want to meet with the association, distribute some of the brochures, Janet, I know likes door knocking, going door to door and doing that as well, which is great. So I think if we can just figure out with them the best way to proceed, and as Janet found out when she was knocking, a lot of people really don't know. They clear cut all the way down to the water thinking, what's the big deal? And I've got a good view, not thinking about erosion, pesticide, this and that. So it's a good opportunity if we can come up, before the spring. It's obviously not my wheelhouse for planting, since I kill everything and that kind of a thing. But I do still have the extra brochures here. So if, whenever Mel and Janet are ready to have time to talk, it would be great to kind of get onto that.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, that doesn't sound great, but thanks for sticking on that. The next item I have under waste reduction, recycling drive, Mari, you were indicating we should try to put together some kind of budget for so that we can recycle returnables that require purchasing boxes or some container of some kind. So you want to give us a quick discussion on that overview, Mari?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've just been talking about this for the last few meetings, but there seems to be money in the budget for us to utilize the money that we're making from other waste management strategies like the textiles and the printer ink, et cetera. If I understand correctly, Mary, the money that you've talked about in the range of $3,000 does not even include the NIP funds, so we're not talking about that money, correct?
Yeah, NIP funds would be
Separate.
under George's area. So this is the printer cartridge, textile, the pollinator pathway signs, those type things.
So could we vote to utilize some of the money just so we don't have to?
Yes, you don't have to keep coming back and forth.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
just like I'm anticipating, I have one source of drop off for the beauty care cosmetic type collection, and that seems to be one of our biggest items we're collecting at this point. The library's getting a good participation with the new bins there and the recycling drive monthly. And I used to be able to send them back for free, but that's been temporarily discontinued. So of course I'm, every month combing through our sources of free options, but it would be nice to just be able to jump in with knowing, like, let's say we have $1,000 budget or a $700 budget, I could fill in and get rid of some more items without having to stop and start some of the collections. If the team's in favor of doing that, I think we should vote for like an annual budget. If I don't have to use it, great, I'll put it back, we'll just have it there. But if we can, we don't have to itemize.
Yeah, and that rolls year to year, so there's no issue with, having it go anywhere, like if it was in the actual budget, since
Right.
it's in that revenue account.
Like I would say
Mark?
$1,000. I don't anticipate going anywhere close to that, but if the team's in favor, at least I can, at the discretion, if we have, like right now, I'm sitting on bags of chips that I would love to buy a collection bin and be able to continue to send those off. So probably $170 for a mid-size box would be great,
Are there any grants at all for this at all? Do you know? Like any other towns? Like what are the other towns doing? And it just seems like, I don't know, chip bags. It's like $170 to, get rid of chip bags.
Right. They're just items that we're getting anyway. I mean, that's a good question. I don't know what other towns are doing, in terms of like the TerraCycle type collections. Most towns aren't doing it, to be honest. We're kind of the above and beyond. Other towns are doing different things like the food scrap collections
Yep.
or, various other programs. So, I mean, that's not something we advertise. We collect the chip bags. But again, just we could get rid of them instead of throwing them in the garbage since we have them.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with, I think it makes it a lot easier. I mean, we have the money there. We haven't really decided what else to do with it other than to help with April's program and occasional purchasing. So I'm fine with that, but it would be nice if we could, if we find any opportunities at some point
Yeah.
to get some kind of grant, funding to help or offset that. I don't know if Sustainable CT has anything in that way. I don't believe so. I think it'll all have to be crowdfunding, but
Right. Yeah, there was just an email from Cheryl Baldwin with Deep that came out today, a newsletter, and it looked like a couple of funding opportunities, but I think they're larger scale to try to fund some of the food scrap collection type programs, and I don't know. I haven't come through it yet, but so could we vote on that or what?
Yeah, somebody
do we
want to
have
make a
enough-
motion to allocate $1,000 for a budget for shipping off recyclable, returnable items? Who wants to move?
I saw April and mute.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can move to make the motion to give Mari $1,000 budget in case she needs it for recycling non-typically recyclable items at the recycling drive.
And I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay, thank you. Moved, all in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Good.
On recycling drive, I'll just add this month, we're doing the holiday light collection. It's obviously something that is typically accepted at the electronic trailer at the transfer station, but just since it's after the holidays as a convenience, we'll offer people to drop it off at the monthly drive. It's not a potentially hazardous item, so I think we're okay to do that.
Yeah, should be all right.
And I have a really dumb question, which I should of course know after looking at the budget all these years. Do we pay for the electronics in the trailer? Do we pay like by the ton, how does that work? By the type items? Is it offset by state? I was because somebody just asked me if another town was doing something like, say, at their library where they did the electronic drop off. And I'm like, well, we have it at the transfer station anyway, but point being, it's more convenient. People don't know it's there type of a thing. But then of course you get into, is it depletion of resources also that we don't have, that we're not budgeting for, and then we're advertising something. So I don't know. Cindy, do you remember? I just don't know. I'll have to look. It just reminded me when you said about the lights.
Yeah, I don't know, Mary.
But that, if able, that might be a nice thing, kind of around the tidy up Trumbull, one of those type things where it's a, noted type thing for people to bring those type electronics versus the trash.
I would be, I'm curious if even it makes the town money, because you're really supplying like parts to somebody for.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I don't
Yeah, or-
remember if it's a cost to us, if
Yeah,
some things like when you're doing like aluminum. So we make money on the aluminum, the cardboard, things like that. So I don't know if in that trailer, if we pay by, as a garbage fee, recycle
Right.
fee, or if we make it. Not something I really thought about. So, but I'll look and see. Who knows? Maybe that'll be something we can take a look at.
yeah, great. Thank you.
All right. On textiles, how's everything with the bins over at the Hillcrest and Madison for Bay State, and then
Helpsy.
Helpsy?
Yeah, so I haven't put anything out in a while. I do have to do that. That's my fault. And I did not get to the Madison principal yet. I will do that as soon as I get off here. I totally forgot about that. But the Hillcrest principal was, got back. I didn't hear from anybody all last summer. And then once school started, I heard back, and he was fine with putting it out. Madison, he wasn't sure where it was going to go. So he wanted to investigate and look, and then I emailed back and didn't hear, and but I didn't think it was as much of an issue at Madison. But apparently it is. So we'll see if we can get another bin over there.
So what do we have now?
Just tell them to put it to the one that's already there.
That was what I had asked. And then, as I said, so I heard back from Hillcrest, but I hadn't heard from him. And again, this is one of those things I know that's kind of low in the totem pole, like, oh yeah, let me go back through my emails and find that Bay State, thing. But we were waiting for a little bit because they weren't sure. We just had like an uptick for a while and they weren't sure if it was kind of because is it spring cleaning type thing, people purging, like there was a drop off after COVID because people had gotten rid of so many things during COVID. And was that going to be kind of our norm? Or is it just because we're advertising it and there was a lot more going in garbage? So it seemed like, Hillcrest definitely, they're filling them. We're doing well. So there is the need for it. HelpSee, I'm not sure how much I haven't gotten anything for the past month yet, but that's still, trucking along a little bit. I don't push that as much because we make more on Bay State. So the Bay State one we get, it helps us more than HelpSee does.
So are there 2 bins at Hillcrest now?
2 at Hillcrest, 1 at Madison,
Okay.
and then HelpSee is a Saturday delivery for 3 bags or more. I mean, pickup.
Pickup, right. All right. Good. The next item I have is food waste initiative, and how's it going over there at is it the high school, just the high school, or is anybody else, any of the other schools doing doing something with food waste? Composting, I think it is at the high school. Who wants to give me an update? Who's got info on that?
I've heard the high school's going smoothly. They had a few little kinks in the beginning that the kids were just putting it in the nearest bin, which was off in the trash, instead of walking over to the area where the sorting stations were. So they moved the trash cans to better accommodate the students. It seems like it's going smoothly. But Brianna was saying something to me along the lines that the company, Blue Earth Compost, that does the pickup, will do the sorting. So if there's trash mixed in with the food scraps, it's her understanding that they might sort it on their end, so there wouldn't be as much required for the students. They could basically collect everything and then they would just get rid of the trash. But I think the school is working on, at least in the senior lounge, still doing the education component, so the kids are aware of what is actually compostable material and what isn't. But it seems like if it's contaminated, in other words, it's still going to be sorted and used. It's not going to ruin the loads. That was the message, which is good.
Yeah, that's really good because
But I haven't gotten
usually that's a
feedback
big problem.
since break.
Yeah, that's
What is it?
surprising.
Yeah.
It's a huge
That's-
problem. Usually you can't, how do they do that? I'm not sure.
That's why we start in elementary. You can't retrain.
Yeah,
By the
I
time
mean,
you get
yeah,
to a
right?
certain
Can't
age.
teach old dogs.
But yeah,
Uh,
all
is
in
there-
all, it seems successful. So I'm really thrilled to hear. Yeah.
That's good. Are there any other schools where they're doing any food waste recovery or composting or anything that anybody knows?
No.
It's just the high school.
So we've got the new food manager in, so let's hope.
Yeah. How about the apartments? I know there was some talk about trying to do stuff at the apartments, right, Mary? Or Mari, I forget who's working on that one.
I reached out to JR at RWS just to see if they were even capable of servicing the apartments before we're like asking the apartments if they're interested, and I haven't heard back.
Okay,
But I could follow up. I would need some, peripheral support to contact the apartments, but
right.
that might be something economic development could help us with. But
What do you think, Ralph?
Sure, I'll send the idea on to Beryl and see if we can add it to our agenda at the next meeting and get back to you with what people want to do.
great.
If you could just maybe offline, send me just a brief outline of what you want to accomplish.
Okay,
I'll make sure the commission sees it.
great.
Thank you.
Super. Thanks.
When's your next meeting, Ralph? I'm sorry.
Tomorrow night.
Oh, okay. Maybe we'll work for the following one. Was it monthly?
Yeah, it's monthly, but even if, whenever you can get it to me, I'll make sure I'll get it to Beryl and Rena can distribute it in between meetings, so
Great.
people are prepared.
Or it can even be like as like in, other discussion item, because it's just trying to find out contact information to see if there is any interest, or, I mean, they may say, well, there's no possible room to put anything, there at all, then it's kind of a moot point. Or they may just say, sure, have JR get in touch, but it's to just try to get a point of contact.
Exactly.
And
And
then,
then also the senior, I was gonna say also the Oakview for the senior, what's the name of it? Cindy, do you know the name, the senior living resort?
River Valley.
River Valley, that might be another one too. I mean, they do a lot of Facebook posting as well and everything like that, and invite the community in to use their rooms and things. So that might be just something as a kind of a, an opportunity for them. They serve real food, but that it might be just kind of a nice community type thing also. Like instead of giving back to the community, kind of being a good community ambassador type thing.
and then, next item I have is Big Belly. Have we gotten any feedback? I think we were waiting to hear from George or Dimitri or somebody on doing that in one of the parks. I forget. To be
I
honest.
could speak about that. We are working on doing some research to find out other towns' experiences, who empties them, how often do they have to be emptied, just to get a little more detailed information to go on. And once again, I was in Chatham, Mass for New Year's, and they have them in Chatham, downtown Chatham, the Big Bellies.
Cool. That's good. So we're moving forward.
And I guess just part of that, Cindy, one of the things we were discussing was, even if we do pilot, to just see how it goes, because we know Dimitri has issues with people bringing their garbage in, and one of the things being that the opening is small, so they're not going to be able to bring their whole thing of garbage and toss it in or anything like that.
Yeah.
So to see if that alleviates that, but then
Yeah,
if
we
maybe
want to
some.
see,
Hmm?
we want to see if other towns are seeing that. Are they seeing a
That's-
problem? with
yeah.
people
So
bringing-
that, and then also if there may be any kind of, if any of the businesses want to sponsor to offset they can advertise to offset some of the costs. So, so just a few of those things in there, since as we are getting, budget's already here. So,
Yep.
That would be nice. So.
Vicky, a summary, because Pam and I had had a conference call with I think his name's
Stratford?
Chad, if off the top of my head, from Stratford, and he's given us a lot of detailed information answering those questions. And then I also have the two reps from Big Belly who put me in contact with New Haven to give the example of how they do the pricing for the side of the units.
Mhm.
They have like a on their webpage how they sell the advertising on the side. So
Cool.
if anybody wants any of those contact names, I do have made quite a bit of headway so far. So
Great.
Do you maybe, Mari, re-forward that? Is that the right word, re-forward, to resend that maybe? So Cindy has it as well?
okay. There's a couple of different documents. There's a whole folder on our drive also. But yeah, I can send you some pertinent things, Cindy, if you'd like.
Thank you.
Good. Next item I have is email account maintenance. I think, Mari, are you the only one now who gets the emails? Pam was getting them, but I don't know if she's doing that anymore.
I don't
What's
know. I do check it. Am I the only one?
That's what I'm wondering. You may be the only one. Is it too much? Is there a lot? You getting a lot of emails or?
No, not necessarily. I'm doing the email and the Instagram and at times Facebook. I
Okay,
think other people jump on the Facebook accounts, but I don't see anyone else on Instagram or the email too much. But yeah, I mean, ideally it would be nice if there was one other person. Pam was pretty timely with responding to things and copying us if it was something that she didn't feel comfortable answering, but for now it's fine.
Yeah, I see
Okay.
the Facebook. I don't really do Instagram. And I don't know why, but I don't see the emails.
Well,
So.
you don't have Gmail, Mary, that's why. If you have to have a Gmail account that you are
No, I do have-
delegated to.
Yeah, I have Gmail. I just don't so
Oh.
it may be me. So, but I'll see. I'll ask Marty to see if he can help me.
Let's see. Right. And then we have some library events coming up. How's that looking?
The January through March events are confirmed. I believe the library has, well, I don't believe, I've seen the library has links that they've shared on their website. I don't believe it's required that you sign up, but there is an option to pre-register for the events. The first one coming up in January is the 29th at 6 p.m. and it's on home energy savings options. So we have someone from UI coming, two people from UI coming, one to discuss the home energy savings program for residents, and the other talking about electric vehicles. And then the third representative is from the Connecticut Green Bank to talk about home energy options and financing. So that's January. February 15th, a Thursday at 6 p.m. Speaking on recycling options specific to Trumbull, and I believe Jose from the transfer station will be joining me to talk about some of the what not to do's for or, you know, best practices, I'll say, for transfer station. And then I reached out to Cheryl Baldwin at the state just to kind of pick her brain for some of the, you know, hot topics on single stream recycling that she can let me know about to relay to the community as well. And then March, I don't have the date off the top of my head, but Pam is speaking on ridding your yard of invasive plants and replacing them with natives. So those are locked in at the library. We do have to start thinking about April if we want to do the glass display case in the front of the library on like Earth Month instead of week, and then other events moving forward. I just know for me, spring is going to be a little bit trickier for planning, but if you know, anybody has ideas on, you know, some sustainable gardening, that sort of thing. I'll be probably working with Courtney and anyone else that wants to generate ideas, but we'll see. Maybe we'll do a April and May event and then take a break for the summer because people travel so much. I think that's probably the best idea. But
Sounds good.
open to suggestions.
Sounds good. Let's see what else do I have. I've got a TC Trumbull Community Women's event or events plural coming up.
Yeah,
What are those?
I'm teaming up with Trumbull Community Women to hold an event at TNAC.
Right.
They're doing a craft with students, and then I believe I'm coming in to do a recycling piece to it, and or like what can you swap out stuff in your house for people who show up that time.
Okay.
Do you still have your chart on that, April, when you did that? Was it last year? It was great. I mean, it was so interesting to see all the things that like you don't really think about, like the no plastic month and you know everything. But what you were swapping out, you had a whole like list of things.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have that somewhere.
That was
Yeah.
that was great.
And
April, I
then,
might want to snag that for the recycling presentation. I know you unfortunately can't join me that night, but that might be a good add-on.
I
If I'm
will give
looking-
you whatever you want, Maury.
Thank you, my dear.
next I have the tree education with Bartlett Tree Service. How's that?
Yeah, that seems to be fine. I got to reach out to Bartlett Tree now that we crossed over to the new year to let them know that we're looking to do it more in May than we are in the end of April due to testing and the curriculum is falling. But
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to say I'm assuming it's a no-brainer, but I'm going to assume we're going to be good to go. And then I'm going to get some new students in the mix, and then prep and train them on the presentation. Probably update that a little bit too.
And which school is that gonna be at?
All the elementary schools.
All the elementary school. Awesome.
Okay.
So that's 6 separate events then, huh? One at each school?
Well, there's probably 4 to 5 fifth grade classrooms in each building, so,
Oh, so each classroom gets it.
yeah.
Well, that's quite a
Sometimes-
bit.
Combined classrooms, but sometimes it's solo. It all depends on the day.
Uh-huh. All right. I have sustainable businesses. We were talking about, or somebody sent an email about reaching out to businesses about sustainability practices, restaurants, so forth. Trying to pick that back up again. Any further thoughts on that?
Well, there's, I mean, like, some towns have a Facebook page, which is all, like, we have like Moms of Trumbull, and I know there's a dads too, but on the Moms of Trumbull, there's always, every, like, who do you go to for this? Who's the best person for that? Like catering, this, that, doctors, everything. But there's some towns that just have, like, say, just a business Facebook page. So it's kind of more leaning towards the Chamber of Commerce. But our Chamber of Commerce people don't actively join, and it's not, active in the community as like Facebook is. So I don't know if that's something maybe, ongoing, that if any businesses want to just join and they can advertise as they are, something like that. But as I said, like when Pronto came in, was kind of an interesting piece to, you're thinking you're getting, all these takeout containers. And when, we went in there for the ribbon cutting, I was like so thrilled that I'm like, oh, there's no black plastic, so it's metal containers, it's the plastic wrap that you put in with the Trex wrap, and the metal container goes right in the recycling. So things like that, where businesses, they're not doing the styrofoam, or, they're not giving you this, like Prime, as soon as you go in there, it doesn't matter what you have, you get your straw, put in your drink. It's like, it's a water, and you've got a straw put in it. That drives me crazy. But so there's separate things. So even just small things that if businesses, again, as Rena said, we don't want to put any pressure on businesses. They have a hard enough time making it, and cost of goods are still up there. But it's always, nice to give them a showcase for something that they are doing anyway. Maybe encouragement. Sometimes it will save them money. Outside, when they have, a lot of our businesses have their own pollinator pathways. So even like that, putting pictures up, they're on the pollinator pathway. So just some kind of business support going in, because that really is part of the sustainable, which is why Ralph's on here. That is part of the sustainable tree, is, our economic development area. So I was just thinking that. And they said, then the other thing, which we talk about, but it's just overwhelming until probably the state mandates something, but to do, everything with skip the straw and getting rid of single use and all those type things. But that's again, that's probably going to be more on us educating residents versus asking the restaurants to do things themselves, because that seemed like a bit of an overwhelming task, based on Rena's perspective. So I just don't know if we want to kind of start making little baby steps on any of these.
Like having some sort of showcasing, you're saying showcasing businesses that do some kind of sustainable something or other on, where would that be done though? On our
Well,
Facebook page or
We
where?
have, I mean, well, two separate. I was saying, I don't know if there is any, if restaurants, if businesses would like their own kind of a Facebook thing where you can recommend and they put their own advertising, because we don't typically advertise for businesses. It's only like during restaurant week, we can do that. So, but we do have, we do have a lot of the businesses that, especially those that are owned by a resident, or, that type thing, managed by a resident. We have like Abby's that Mari's daughter works in. And so, there's things where it's an easy shout out. And when I was on the senior commission, I would do like the shout out of the month, and it was participants, and they got their own little blurb about, here's what they're offering, here's something about them, make sure you stop in. It was, for some, I mean, it was successful. Bianca Rosa had to call me and change what they offered because it was too popular. So, and they had a lot of people coming in. So I'm just thinking it's kind of a two-way street. If we can do something where we can promote the businesses, but then they're also doing, as I said, like they are putting their own pollinators out there. You know, nice pictures of it, you know, stop by Echo, you know, sitting outside, see the pollinator pathway. Like, as I said, Pronto with their sustainability, you know, anything like that that might prompt them to do something, but it's also, we're kind of giving them a little bit of extra, you know, a little bit of a shout out here and there.
Maybe Ralph has some thoughts or can put this idea to the commission about how that, something like that might be done. Because it does seem like a good thing.
Well, we've talked about doing our own economic and community development newsletter on a quarterly basis. We used to do it, got away from it during COVID, and it's on the list of things to consider for this year. So I'll make sure it's raised again.
I'll put all those new members on it, Ralph.
Will do.
Make them do it. No, okay, yeah, no, that was a great resource.
I'd like to jump in on this quickly. Pam and I worked on last year a whole nice informational flyer to go to restaurants to outline strategies to be more sustainable. And we sent it to Rena, and she said she sent it out via her listserv, and we had contact information, and you know, didn't really hear much back. But I'm wondering if we can you know, ask her to you know, re-forward that again, if we want to update it, like 2024 reminders, that sort of thing. I've also spoke with my husband, who works for the health department and goes to all the restaurants doing inspections, and he was open to reviewing informational materials that we could have him bring around as he's doing inspections, and possibly give to restaurants. So that's another strategy we can look at. But I think we need to, like, you know, they're all good ideas, Mary, but I think we need to, like, come up with like 1 or 2 strategies to get started that are like tangible things to ask. And who are we asking, right? Because they're all great things. Like, I do the same thing. I sit there and go, why am I getting a straw here? I don't need it. You know, even at 123 Pronto, I was like, do they really need to wrap these containers in the plastic twice? But you know, maybe that's an ask or something. But I think, I mean, Cindy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's anything wrong with our page posting the takeout container from 123 Pronto and saying, you know, we're so glad to see you know, recyclable materials being used, because they're aluminum containers with clear plastic lids, both highly recyclable items if they're cleaned, and take your plastic wrap and put it in. And I mean, I don't think that that's favoring a restaurant to inform what you would do with the materials, right, Mary? I mean, that's something I think we can just start doing as a group without a big ask, right?
Well, yeah, well, that's what I meant. There's like there's a lot of, that's what I was saying, like, to just baby steps. Because there's a lot of different things to do, and we've looked at some of like the larger, where it's like, let's really make a difference, and it's too much. We know it's too much on the businesses. So if we can even just highlight some of the things they're already doing, you know, I said, look, once spring hits, you know, it's going to look nice at all the places. So that's just an easy one to say, you know, they're on the pollinator pathway, stop by, support, the same
Right.
thing, Pronto, but others that do things, Starbucks. I know I hate to do a chain versus, like, say Plasco's or Mariana's, but you know, but the health department wouldn't let us do the single use coffee refill, unfortunately. But you know, but things that businesses are already doing, so we're highlighting them without asking them to do anything else. And then
Right, like
as we've heard-
Mariana's, I'm sorry.
yeah.
They use reusable mugs. When you dine in, you get a mug that they wash. At 80s Falafel, when you dine in, they wash their plates and utensils, those kind of things. It's just highlighting that if you happen to be there eating, and saying, look at this great practice, you know, best practice being done
Yeah.
locally, right?
So that's
But
what I
think
figured, if we kind of do that, like starting where we're kind of getting our way in, and then they're kind of become more aware of us, we're showing what they're doing, and maybe it does encourage others, or, you know, it's something, because we can't go the whole way we'd like to go. So how do we start small?
Right. I mean, I think the big ask, and we've been tossing this around, I'm going to say going on 2 years, is to have that window decal and that says, Trumbull asks first, or I ask first, or whatever,
Yeah.
the cut out the cutlery, whatever you want to call the program. And, you know, would economic development jump on board with that and fund this like campaign where it's really asking restaurants to save money, saying, I'm asking before I'm handing out the straws. I'm asking before we hand out used plastic bags. It's asking them to use less product. So it's not an ask to spend more money, which, you know, in this climate is, I think, a great thing, but it's formulating this campaign and having, you know, true support to back it. I think it's a great thing, but, I think if we're putting the buzz out there about these, best practices on our own, maybe that would be the logical next step from there, right?
Yeah, I saved my receipt. Marty did take out the other night and I'm like, did you check? Cause we usually don't do, he'll usually pick up, but he did where he checked off no utensils, no condiments.
good.
And so I was like, you know, even telling people that that's an option when they do that. So, you know, again, if we're just trying to educate residents versus, you know, see what businesses will do. I mean, I don't know, you know, as I said, you're right. We just keep kind of going around and around on the same thing. So that's what I'm trying to say. What can we do that's doable that gets us at least a start?
Right, right.
All right.
Cindy, do you want to go back to Rena about sending out information again, or should we look to go to the health department next? I guess like, let's maybe have a little bit of a next
Right.
step, right?
If you'd send me a copy, one more copy of what she sent out before.
Okay,
just so
great.
I can refresh her mind. I'll follow up on that.
Okay, great.
You know, and we may hear
Okay.
that it was all sent and there was no interest and that's fine, you know what I mean? It's like, it was a reach out, and then as I said, it may just be other areas that we can try and gain little, you know, insights here and there.
Got it. I'll follow up on that.
Okay, I'll send that out probably later today or tomorrow, Ralph.
Can
Okay.
you copy me also, Murray?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, the next items I have are TSY. You have Mario, you were looking for Trumbull Sustainable Youth Liaison now that Brianna's getting close to graduation. Is there any progress on that? First of all, is there much interest
I
after
was gonna
Brianna
ask
leaves?
April what you're hearing from some of the middle school students that would be rising up to high school. I mean, Brianna's down to about 4 or 5 kids that she regularly calls on to join, and a couple of them being her senior peers. And then we have a couple of the boys who are a little bit younger, but yeah, I mean, it needs a little revamping. I think maybe more outreach. I mean, we were holding monthly meetings and not getting any turnout. So it's been, you know, plugging along with the few students that are being helpful. And again, I think we talked about this, Kevin. It doesn't have to stay a separate group. I mean, they have a social media presence that they could continue, but you know, I just think in the interest of doing well at the other things I'm doing for the group, I don't want to you know, put forth that energy towards this group any longer for the Trumbull Sustainable Youth. I mean, I'll welcome students to come to our recycling event and anything cleanups we're holding, that sort of thing. But if no one's gonna take it over officially, then it might just be more dormant. I don't know.
Right.
What do you think, April?
So I know the environmental club, which is being advised by a colleague of mine at Hillcrest, has a flexing number of students anywhere from like 5 to 10 that show up. But they've really just been focusing on like the marker recycling. They haven't really put forth too much more than that at this point. So to say how much more they'll be interested in expanding on what they might do as they get to the high school. And these are all mostly 6th and 7th graders.
Yeah.
So the presence of older students that are heading up to the high school isn't quite there, unfortunately.
Okay.
Oops, sorry. Yes, so I've got I met last week with some Henkel representatives. Henkel and TNAC are working on program. It's a sustainable STEM training program where we're gonna have hopefully about 20 students and 20 mentors to help the students to develop portions of sustainability plans for their town. So we're going to be reaching out to Bridgeport students and Trumbull students, about 10 and 10 of each. We have to see how many mentors we get and then see how many students. Hopefully we can get students relatively easily, but I'm not sure where we're going to get them from. I'm thinking possibly some of the TSY students, or I know there's a high school environmental club and there's a science honor
There's only-
society. So there's a few places like that to get high school students in Trumbull. I'm not sure where we're going to get them from Bridgeport, but that's gonna any of the kids in high school. We're going to start at high school. Any of the kids who are still going to be in high school next year might be interested in this program. There is financial compensation for their work. They're going to get a contract to create a portion of a sustainability plan for their community, and they will get paid for that, and they will have mentors to help them. So it's going to be, well, I mean, there's a possibility that this could actually get going in the spring if we can get all our ducks in a row, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. But if so, it's going to come up quick. So I'll probably be reaching out. Another aspect of this program is we're going to be having STEM professionals talking about their experience in sustainability related careers. For example, Mari, I know you work in solar, so we would ideally have somebody come talk about all the great job opportunities in the field of solar energy and power and so forth. That would be one of the speakers that we would have, one of the people that we would have talking about various sustainable STEM careers. So it's going to be I'm going to be working on this now for the next several months, trying to get all this ready to go. And I don't know, what's any thoughts that anybody has as far as any of that? There's several parts to that puzzle. So
Yeah, so Kevin, you probably want to reach out to students at the Agro Science Center too, because that's very STEMmy. They have an entire STEM portion of agri-science, and then the students at Fairchild Wheeler.
right, yeah, I know. Fairchild Wheeler, I was checking their website out. They've got some stuff going on there too. So those
Yep.
are
Kevin, I can give you the contact at Aqua School, the Bridgeport Regional Aqua Science School. They have Bridgeport and Trumbull students there.
right,
Yep.
right. Thank you.
The director there, I don't know if he's considered a principal. I forgot his name, his title, but he's really nice. I can give you his name.
Not Dave Henry, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we've been in touch with him from TNAC for some stuff too. So
Oh, okay, good. Never mind then.
yeah, he does a lot of, he's got a few different titles.
Yeah.
He's like head of STEM,
Oh.
something STEM education or science education or something for the whole city, I think.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he's got a lot going on. So yes, thank you though for that.
Is this being run by TNAC or by like Henkel? Who's
Well,
organizing?
Henkel has donated funds, and TNAC is providing some additional funds to TNAC. So TNAC is actually running it because we're a 501c3, and Henkel's providing, as I say, funds, but also more importantly, mentors. They're trying to reach out to their various, not just Trumbull campus, but even some of the other campuses, because a lot of the mentoring is going to be done remotely. It can be done remotely at this point to the students. So yeah, it's a combination of TNAC and Henkel, and then I figure sustainable. Some of the people from here will be interested in either being mentors or something. And if it keeps growing, I'll be reaching out to other companies probably for more mentors and reaching out for more students. So hopefully we're gonna do one pilot, like an 8-week program, meeting once a week, having a different speaker each week, talking about a STEM career that they think is something worthwhile pursuing. And at the same time, the students will have mentors to help create something that the students will fill out a survey saying, I'm interested in, let's say, recycling, right? And then so they're gonna find out as much about recycling in their community as they can, and then get that information and it's gonna be more of a sustainable resource inventory is what it's gonna be. So all the information they can find about recycling in town, they'll get it together and say, here's all the various people that do recycling, for example, right? And that'll be just one piece of the sustainability plan. The plan will never be finished. It will always be growing and changing and so forth, but that's the concept.
That's, and once you're set, that would be obviously a great piece to go out through the town.
Good.
You know, if you need to get students, but also it's that's the same thing back to like a business giving back to the community in such a sustainable way. But it's like a nice piece to highlight Henkel, you know, and to show what TNAC is doing. And I mean, that's just it sounds like a fantastic program.
Yeah, it'll be great if we can do it. I've got my list of all the things that we have to get done. So
Yeah,
it-
seems like a
it's
lot.
bit, as you can imagine, but it's pretty exciting, I think.
So Kevin, it'll be once a week for 8 weeks, starting in the spring, roughly, like tentatively?
If we get everything, you know, together, then, yeah, we would start sometime in hopefully early April, early to mid-April, because we really not going to run past the school year. So yeah, 8 weeks, once a week, starting in like early to mid-April.
Okay.
So we're 3 months away, so we got a lot to do. Anybody that wants to participate in any way, let me know. I will hit you up, Mari, for information on some solar people. I know you've
Yeah.
got some contacts,
Give
so
me
I'll
contact,
be
yeah.
definitely interested in that. So that is the end of my list of that was on the agenda. If there's anybody else who wants to comment, but then I've got Janet had sent a list of things she just had some thoughts to talk about steep slope. She mentioned steep slope regulations. She mentioned Arbor Day Tree City recognition and something else here. Yeah, that was mostly it that we hadn't talked about yet. So I don't know if we don't have Mel here, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, we need
about the
Mel for the
steep
like
slope.
the steep
Yeah.
slope for the trees, you know, the same thing, the 1,000 trees for Trumbull. To see if that's what's happening with that, and then that kind of relates to Arbor Day. So those are all like Mel things.
Yeah. So we can table that for now, but any other?
Kevin, I just have a quick thought.
Yeah.
If you're doing spring, just be aware, I don't know what time the workshops or whatever you're calling them will be held, but so many kids do spring sports that you know, if you want to be able to include them, maybe an evening or weekend time might work. Just a thought, just from the kids I know, but.
Yeah, and there's also I forget when break is, but I think it's in April, isn't it?
Yeah.
Spring break, so it's gonna be a little squeeze there. Yeah, we got a lot of things to figure out, the timing and where it's gonna be, all that stuff. Any other comments, questions? I'm still thinking about the composition of our team and if we should try to get somebody from conservation on here, and what's our next step here is to try to meet with somebody we should probably try to get our thoughts together. I don't know, team, what you think, but it seems like it would be good to have ideally somebody from conservation on here, don't you think? If we can.
Well, the resolution provides for two members from conservation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was Pam and Mel.
Right. First it was Richard and Mel, and then it was Pam
Richard,
and
Mel.
Mel. Pam, Richard and Mel, right? And then however that worked out. But yeah, I don't know if we need to, would we need to change the resolution, Cindy, or?
Well, if you want to change to not having two conservation commission members, then you would have to change the resolution. Or if you wanted to change the composition. Right now, it's two conservation commissions, one economic and community development commission, one from TNAC, which is you, 3 community members, and 1 town council member.
There you go. Right.
Yeah, I think the only issue would be if it's really for voting. So if we have one person from conservation, that's fine. You know, it's not filled, but if we had 3 members and 3 members are voting, then that's, you know, we can't do that. So that's really the only thing we'd have to watch for. And I know when we spoke with Vicky, we were trying to figure out, since we have more people that are not on these specific commissions, but are that interested in helping, so they're more on as like members at large. So as we're saying in the beginning, non-voting members, but you know, so we can figure out, but I know it's, we're kind of getting a little lesser on who based on the resolution, who we're really gonna have on here for voting, and then just having more people that are involved, which seems like we have more of that than actual voting members at this point, so we'll have to see.
So
Yeah, I mean, we
The
just,
other thing I was thinking of is, I know that the Conservation Commission has a meeting at the end of this month. And I can reach out to them and ask them to put on their agenda a discussion about this item and maybe see if they have people who are interested in stepping up to do this. And then they can, you know, if they can identify 2 people, then we can move forward to having them officially appointed.
yeah, if you can even get one, it'd be great, but appreciate that. That would be helpful. Thank
Were
you.
replacements named, Cindy? I didn't look.
Yes, we've sworn them in. But they haven't had a meeting as of yet.
Okay, I could take a look after.
I'm just gonna check to see if they're on the website yet. No, they're not.
Okay,
So, I'll have to contact Patty. That's a good reminder. I'll have to contact Patty to update the website.
okay. We have anything else, Kevin?
That is all I have on my agenda. Anyone else have anything they wanna add, or we all set? 4:30? All right, 1 hour, exactly.
We're getting better.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye, thanks, Bill,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Cindy.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.